What are we doing today, Doc? Today we're going to talk about armyworms, and I am going to break down very specifically, number one, what they are, how they get into your yard, how to detect them, and how to absolutely destroy them and wipe them out. Not just treat for them, but get rid of them 100%. Here we go. So I'm up here, we're having to go back to irrigation. Remember, we went through a 7-week drought. After the 7-week drought, then we had 8 days of everyday thunderstorms in the afternoon. We got oversaturated. Now we're back to 7 days with no rain. And so I'm up here irrigating the fields. All these fields are mainly planted for the wildlife, so we keep them irrigated. But let's talk about armyworms. I've had a couple comments down below, and feel free to drop a comment down below about armyworms and people getting infested with armyworms. Now, before I start, don't forget we cover a lot of this in the lawn guides. The lawn guides are up. Over 2 million people have used them. There's 3 websites we built, and on those 3 websites, there's a Cool Season website, a Bermuda website, and a Zoysia website. We cover armyworms extensively. So let's talk about, number one, how they get into your yard. If you go through your yard, and I've done this before, if you take a garden hose, especially like in the early morning or in the afternoon, and you just sort of spray your grass with a garden hose, you're going to see these white moths or gray moths come out. Gray, tan, white, whatever you want to call them. Those are the armyworm moths, and they get into your lawn, and they will lay anywhere from 100 to 400 eggs each. After about 28 days or so, those eggs hatch, and then the armyworms start out. Now, they call them armyworms because they move across your lawn like an army, and what they do is they basically chew on the grass. Now, that's different from grubs. Now, grubs are subsoil. Grubs don't come up. Grubs stay under the ground, and the grubs eat the roots. Now, it's important to understand that grubs will destroy your lawn. You'll see brown patches all over the place, and they basically kill the plant because they cut off the root. Armyworms don't. Armyworms just eat the green. So it's not like they're killing your lawn. It's just like they really hurt it. You put all this effort into it. It's a good time to treat for them. Late summer to early fall is typically when you'll see them the heaviest, but they move into different areas at different times. Right now, a couple of you guys have said, man, we're infested with them right now. All right, so next, how do you test for them? The easiest way is just walk around your lawn, take a 5-gallon bucket, fill it with water, put about a teaspoon of Dawn liquid in there, Dawn dish detergent. And what you're going to do is you're going to pour that into the lawn in one spot. You're going to flood that spot. Now you're just going to sit there and stare at it. And usually within 10 to 30 seconds, 10 to 60 seconds, somewhere in there, you'll see they'll start to come up. Basically, it kind of suffocates them. It coats their body and it kind of suffocates them. So they'll come up and you'll see them sort of wiggle up. It's actually pretty amazing. So you go and you test different spots. Sometimes you can see like weak looking areas in your lawn. You say, man, that area over there just looks like it's weaker than the other ones. A lot of times you got armyworms moving through there. It's a good place to test. So I'm out here monitoring my fields and checking my fields while I do this. What's the treatment for it? It's a 2-stage treatment if you want to wipe them out. Number one, you take the double kill product, which is a DG dispersible granule. Just put it out just like a fertilizer. I'll link to it in the description below. I'll link to all the products. And a link to the lawn guide and a link to our email list, by the way. You put out your granular, and I like to do this. Typically, I like to do this late afternoon or early, right about sunset. Put out the granular product, and then right behind it, I want you to come out with a hose end sprayer. I'll link to a couple of them, just like a Spectracide or something, and just give a real good coat all over your lawn. Now, what that does is because you're doing this in the evening or at sunset, those DG particles are going to get a little bit wet and kind of work down into the thatch a little bit. So armyworms don't go in the ground. Armyworms hide in the thatch, and that's one of the problems. You got to catch them at a certain time. So you put your DG product down, you spray it, the DG starts to break down and gets into that thatch. Now, overnight, and what you're going to see is typically if you go out 15 to 30 minutes after you spray, and even if it's dark, you can take a flashlight and you'll see them coming up and you'll see them starting to just wiggle around. But here's the key to this double treatment. The spray will last, maybe a couple days, maybe you get a rain, but the DG part, it goes into the thatch where they want to hide, and that continues to kill them for several days. That's how you wipe them out. Now, the other benefit of this is the DG product, once it works down about 1 to 2 inches down in the soil, after a couple rainfalls, it'll also kill your grubs. So it kills ticks, it kills fleas, it kills grubs, it kills armyworms. It's a great product. I've used it for years, and yes, I use it around my pets. You can read the bag. Once you get it down, once you water it in, it's safe to put your pets out. I've had my dogs out on my yard with the double kill, the duocide for years. So that's how I treat for them. Are there any other, if you have any other questions about armyworms, pop them down below. But basically, August is when it starts, and it'll run all the way through the fall. They're going to move in at different times. Now, the other question I get is, do I have to retreat? The answer is possibly, because the life cycle is about 30 days on armyworms. In other words, once you get new moths come in there, the new moths lay new eggs, they come out and hatch, and they're going to retreat again. Hey guys, I'm going to break in here real quick and give you 2 updates. Number 1 is on our giveaway. We're giving away either a McLean reel mower or Toro zero turn up to $3,000. I'm paying for it personally. All you have to do is be on our email list, which if you look on the page below, it'll have all the products I'm talking about, plus it'll have the email sign up. It is not a marketing list. I send out 2 emails a year maybe if there's a big sale or something, but it is an automatic system that most of the time will notify you if I put out, this idiot's put out a video. So get on the email list. Make sure you're subscribed too. Also, the prepper series, we'll call it, preparation series. I hate to call it a prepper series. It actually is intelligent preparation. You guys know that we're living in crazy times. I don't have to go there, whether it's storms, whether it's cyber attacks, no matter what it is. We're at the point in time, I think, in society where every household needs to be prepared for 30 days of complete downtime. We've been through it with COVID. I mean, you saw what happened. I didn't have to worry about it. I was prepared. I've been prepared for years. Look, decades ago, we had a hurricane slam in up in North Carolina, and we were without power for 10 days. I had a young daughter, a wife, 10 days without power in the middle of summer. Miserable. So how do you survive that? Back then, we didn't even have generators back then, really. There wasn't household generators way back then. So what I've done over the past year and a half, that was not my focus on this property, by the way, when we bought this property. I just decided that I was going to commit myself to sort of buy things and test things for you guys at different levels. So even though over inside that cabin, I have a $12,000 battery backup system that can completely run my house for 3 days, and I have enough solar panels to cover that whole roof. I have 3 water sources. I have everything I need. I have gardens. We have wildlife. We can close our gates. I'm to the point now where we can close our gates and completely disconnect ourselves away from society and actually live out here comfortably for over 2 years. But my goal for you guys is to say, share that knowledge, share that testing that I've done, and say, how do I prepare for 30 days? We've all been through it. There's storms, cyber attacks, whatever it might be. I'm not going to get crazy on it, but that's a new series I got coming out, and I will send out an email. That's going to happen when I come back in September. I'm going to take a break in September. I'm going to go down to the beach house for a while. I'll actually post up some fishing videos, and I'll work on that Bermuda lawn and that zoysia lawn. But after I come back from that, that's when I'm going to start posting videos on that. It's a whole new channel. There's a whole new website. I'll put up links to it when it's ready. But I just wanted you guys to make sure that you were aware of that. It's going to be kind of cool. It's a lot different than a lot of the stuff you see out there right now, which is, you know, get ready for the zombie apocalypse. That's not what I'm talking about. Although we have capability to be completely off grid here, I want you guys to have 30 days as your goal. And I'll show you how to do that, and show you how to do that actually without too much expense. You can choose your level that you want to go to. Anyways, guys, that's about it. Again, last year out here, we had a ton of armyworms, moths. We would come along here with a hose. Matter of fact, let me grab the hose and see if any come out. Well, this doesn't really test for armyworms, but it tells you the precursor for armyworms, which is the moths. We came out here last year. I like to come out like right as the sun's hitting the lawn. I come out with a hose, and I'll just sort of put it on. I'll sort of put it on a blast, and I'll come along. And when I do this, what I'll find is I'll see white moths popping out of here like crazy. I mean, like crazy. So I don't know if you remember, last year we did a video out here and we were cutting the grass and you could literally watch moss come out of here. This year, I just don't have them. I don't know why, at least not yet. I don't have them moving in. Anyways, guys, feel free to check. And on that note, my first white egret is flying across the pond. Fred, the blue heron, is here, but that little white bird is absolutely gorgeous. That's a good way to end it, and I feel some sprinkles. Hopefully we get some of this rain coming in. I'll talk to you later. Doc.